Hey guys, so today we're going to actually sit and talk about inspiration. And I'm going to give you my 5 tips on what I do to find inspiration and to stay inspired. Okay, so the first thing that I try to do is I try to keep my eye open, because inspiration can come from anywhere, any place, any time of day, any time of night. You just have to make sure you, like I said, make sure you keep an eye out for it. For me, a recent example was a woman that I went to high school with. She recently started a YouTube channel, and she is a journalist. And me personally, I've never once thought about becoming a journalist. I've never really been interested in journalism, but I have watched her videos to support her and everything, and I actually learned something. And in my opinion, her videos are actually pretty interesting, so I keep up with that, even though I have no plan in the near future to ever become a journalist. With that said, I noticed that she really wanted to become a journalist. She, worked really hard to get where she is, and so I guess that in a way inspired me to start this YouTube channel. So, like I said, whenever I saw that she had started a YouTube channel and I was gonna watch one of her videos, I wasn't thinking, should I start a YouTube channel? But after watching her first couple of videos, it pretty much, I was like, you know what? I need to start a YouTube channel, because you can tell that she's passionate about what she does and she wants to share that with the world. I'm passionate about music and creativity and technology, so here I am. Okay, so tip number 2 is going to be just mix things up. Don't do the exact same thing day in and day out, because you kind of get into a rut, you kind of get into a very repetitive, redundant routine, and it's just not going to feed your creativity. So no matter what it is that you do, mix it up. One of my favorite guitarists, Mick Thompson, he said in an interview one time when he was talking, when the interviewer asked him, well, what do you do when you're lacking inspiration, or you can't, you're not really coming up with any new ideas on guitar? The first thing that he said, well, I put my guitar down, I go and I pick up a bass, or I go and I play drums. And he said sometimes you'll write something on that instrument that you can't play, obviously, that you can't play on a guitar, and once you learn that part, or you write that part, you come back to the guitar, and that right there inspires you to write something to that. So that's something that I do all the time. I know there for quite a few years I played bass guitar, and I gotta say, after a few years I was kind of burned out. I wasn't going and picking it up every day. I wasn't thinking about writing all the time, and it just my practice sessions and my writing sessions got fewer and further in between. And so, there for about a year, I was kind of on a hiatus, and it wasn't necessarily with the intent to step away from it so I could come back later. Things came up, life kind of got in the way. But once I got everything situated and straightened back out, I came back and I actually picked up the guitar instead of the bass, and it was night and day compared to before I went on the break. And the songs and the music and everything was just flowing out of me like it had never done before. And I truly believe that it was because I took that break, I kind of stepped back from it, and when I came back, I just hit the ground running. Okay, so tip number 3 is put yourself out there, or put your art out there, or put whatever it is that you do, put it out there. Because if you just keep it bottled up inside, that's where it's going to stay. It's never going to brighten anyone's day. It's never going to inspire somebody else to do anything. And it's just literally just going to go to waste. I guess an example is, for me, I had actually filmed my first YouTube channel probably almost 2 months before I actually released it, because I was sitting there and I was nitpicking everything. I was re-recording things. I was making sure that I found like the perfect music, or that I had the perfect transitions, or anything like that. And so when it was all said and done, all it did was hold me back for 2 months basically. And it's just one of those things where you're your own worst critic, and I'll go over more on that in a minute. In my honest opinion, if you sit there and you start something and you nitpick it and it goes unfinished, and then you ultimately end up starting something else, not only are you wasting your time, but you're wasting your talent at the same exact time. So it's better to put something out there that you're not 100% proud of, because the good thing about that is that puts you out there and opens up your avenues for critiques. And the thing about it is you never know how someone is going to react to something until you show it to them. You could think that, oh my God, this is the worst thing in the world. But you show it to other people and they think, oh my God, this is amazing. I want you to do this for me, or I want you to help me do this, or oh my gosh, I'm going to go back and I'm going to try to do this. And that will literally never happen if you just keep it to yourself and never put it out there. Okay, so tip number 4, after you do put yourself out there, you're definitely going to get some criticism. And that's one, in my opinion, that is the number one type of inspiration for me, is constructive criticism. And I'm talking about people that are literally coming out and they're being specific about certain things. Like there's some of my friends and people in my community, after they saw some of my YouTube videos, they said, oh, you know what, Tyler, your lighting was kind of dark, or your audio wasn't the best, or just simple things like that. I love that stuff. I eat that stuff up. That gets me fired up, and that makes me look into things more, do more research, see how I can improve. Once you put yourself out there and you open yourself up to constructive criticism, that's what's going to help you grow. And that's, like I said, that's going to get you inspired to either improve or branch out. And that's just when it comes down to it, you have to keep an open mind. You can't just shut those things out, because if you do, you're never going to grow, you're never going to improve, and you're never going to make it any further than you are today. Tip number 5 is the way that I silence that voice inside my head. I know in the local music community here in Dallas, there are quite a few people. They struggle with self-doubt, and they question themselves constantly. And that voice inside your head is the hardest thing to drown out and to keep quiet and to try to ignore. But some things that I've found that really help with that is, I go back to the constructive criticism. Put yourself out there and listen to what people have to say. And the second thing is surround yourself with people that you respect their opinion. That way you're not just putting everything up in the air and taking just notes from random strangers. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that, and ultimately that's what I would love to do, is build a community where people can put their art out there, receive constructive criticism, receive tips, and communicate with each other and collaborate with each other. But like I said, definitely surround yourself with people, friends, colleagues, anybody that you respect their opinion, and that's going to help you. Because you have to sit there and think about it from this point of view, I guess. If one person is in a room and they're screaming at the top of their lungs, obviously you're going to hear them. But start adding people into the mix, and they're having their own conversations, and they're talking to other people, and it gets to where there's a group of people in there talking. Eventually, that person that was in there by themselves is no longer by themselves. Even though they're screaming at the top of their lungs, you can't hear them that well anymore, because there's other people in there using their voice. And that's how I like to look at it. When you open yourself up to constructive criticism and you surround yourself with people that you respect their opinion, and you're hearing what they have to say, you're letting their voices in your head, and that is helping distract you from that voice in your head. Alright guys, so those are the 5 things that I do to stay inspired, stay motivated to do good every day and get better. And I really hope you can come away from this video with some of these tips and tricks and help you stay inspired, get yourself motivated, and silence that voice inside your head. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bell, and stay creative.